What's up guys, I'm FEH and welcome to my banner review and builds guide for the Loving Sea banner featuring Summer Female Alear, Petra, Goldmary, Dedue, and Clanne. So Summer Female Alear is a bit of an upgraded version of her legendary version, and this time she is a colorless infantry dragon. She does have maritime arts as 11 might dual phase brave weapon, so that is really strong, and then it also gives her minus and special cooldown. In the combat, she's able to get +5 to all of her stats, and she also debuffs the stats of the foes depending on the number of distant game titles among the allies in 3 spaces of her, multiplied by 3 and then added with 4. So this can go up to max -10 debuff to all of these stats. She also gets flat damage reduction on foes' first attacks, including the brave hits depending on X, and here X is going to be 5 multiplied by the total number of distant game title allies plus the number of engaged allies. So this is going to be the allies that have any kind of emblem effect, and right now we have got 3 emblem rings, so at max you're able to get 15 flat damage reduction, which is not that hard to do with a harmonic unit with an engaged special. So you're able to get that damage reduction which is not pierceable compared to what Legendary Female Alear has got, and then you also get X true damage in the combat. So this is going to be max 15 true damage, and then finally she has got Null Guard so that she can trigger her special Bond Blast a lot easily. She also comes with her exclusive special in Bond Blast, which is a 2 cooldown special with her weapon, which she's always able to retaliate back with her brave attack. And just like Legendary Female Alear, she provides you with the damage reduction piercing support if you're a support partner of hers, but now she can even give this to any kind of highest attack ally in 2 spaces of hers, so even without support partner, she's able to be used. And Bonded is a new status effect that can trigger certain skill effects for the unit in a turn, and this could be expanded upon maybe with the legendary versions of the Engaged Lords. So right now it is going to be giving you the 100% damage reduction piercing with Summer Female Alear, and she herself also gets this in the combat. And if she's within 3 spaces of a support partner or a bonded ally, then she's able to get the 40% flat damage reduction from foe's next attack. So this is the Armored Beacon, Armored Flow type of unpierceable damage reduction, which is really good with her weapon so that she can stack up even more unpierceable damage reduction. And for her base kit, she does come with Speed Resistance Finish 4, which does help with the scale checks of her Slotsy skill, and she does have a new skill in Even Res Wave D. So this is only a dragon exclusive skill, and this is going to be giving you +6 resistance at start of turn to yourself and the allies in 2 spaces. And then it is going to be having the resistance check for the scowl effect if the enemy has an offensive special, and you're going to be able to scowl them before their first attack, and if it's an even number turn, then you're able to get +6 resistance in the combat. So this kind of skill is useful on many of the dragons to get the double scowl going, and if you're running something like a finish skill in the slot A, then having the scowl effect from your slot C does help quite a lot. Summer Female Alear does have the trainee BST, so she can score well in arena, and she does have base 47 speed and base 42 attack, so she has got 42 attack with a super boon, which can definitely be capitalized off of, but because she wants to have the scowl effect, a lot of the times you could invest into her resistance, which is not really absurdly high, but it is at a point where you can make use of the scowl effect from her Slotsy skill. And she does come with Null Counter Disrupt 4, so she could be used in Aether Raids offense, and now she's also blessable. So overall I find her to be a pretty good Omni tank. I don't really think that she is as good of an Omni tank as Emblem Ike obviously, and also Legendary Male Alear, who has the Miracle Shenanigans, but still Summer Female Alear does have a lot of unpierceable damage reduction that she can use, and Bond Blast does have the potential in the future usage where bonded status could be expanded upon. So she might be a bit more useful whenever that happens, but until then, she's at least going to be giving you that damage reduction piercing support, and a lot of the modern units also have damage reduction piercing innately, so they don't really need the support of Bond Blast or the bonded status to pierce the damage reduction. And her support is not the main reason why you would use her like her legendary version, and now she's going to be used a lot more for her Omni tanking role. Summer Female Alear is a competent Omni tank, and you can definitely use her with Distant Counter Dragon Sacred Seal. She already comes with Null Counter Disrupt, and then you can run her with Emblem Ike to get some unpierceable damage reduction. So you could stack up a lot of unpierceable damage reduction so that she can function better as an Omni tank. and her base kit is fine, but you could definitely try and change some of the things. So if you want to get the double Scowl skill, you could definitely try and run that. So now she's got the Scowl effect from her Slotty and Slotsy skill, and Counter Roar could be run with Fallen Lumera, who's going to be giving you the Scowl skill. So Counter Roar is going to be giving you the healing and also going to be giving you the reflecting damage. So with the true damage of her weapon, she can hit much harder now with her Bond Blast. Like a lot of the modern tanks, she doesn't really have null follow-up in her kit, so that could be run in the slot B, and then she could have the damage reduction piercing on her first attack where she's not going to be triggering Bond Blast. She does trigger that on her Brave hit, so it could help you, and Distant Bonus Doubler could be run so that he can stack stat out a lot more, and Hardy Bearing could be a Sacred Seal that he could run to deal with a lot of the Desperation nukes, and also Emblem Ike, of course. So running a distant counter Slotty skill does help you with that, and it does open up some flexibility because you're still going to be getting the Scowl effect out of your Slotsy skill. But if you want to use her with some of the more meta skills, then I would suggest High Dragon Wall and Breath of Life 4. So you're going to be getting the Scowl effect out of the Slotty skill, and High Dragon Wall does have Phantom Resistance +5, so it is going to be helpful, and it also gives you the damage reduction, but it also blocks the warping of the ranged foes. So that is the main reason of using the skill. And then Breath of Life 4 could be used so that it could counter the pre-combat damage and just function a lot better as an Omni tank. Summer Goldmary is a Lance Infantry unit, and she's the harmonic unit of the banner, and she's got Diva Pair Parasol as her preferred weapon. So this gives her minus in special cooldown, making Godlike Reflexes a 2 cooldown special, which you can easily trigger with Lagoo's Friend. And she's also going to be debuffing the foes in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her if they have got less defense than her defense +5. So she's going to be debuffing their attack and speed by -X, and this X is going to be dependent on the 15% of foes' visible attack stat. So if you're going to be facing any kind of modern unit with at the very least like 60 attack, you're able to debuff their attack and speed by -9. So this is the support that she's able to provide, and she also ignores any kind of attack and speed buff of the foe. So Delt attack speed is also there. So this is kind of reminiscent of Ashnard and how he can provide that lull support to you while still debuffing the stats of the enemy. So Goldmary tries to do something similar, and this is definitely one of the things that is going to be helping her more from her preferred weapon, because the other effects that she has got is a bit generic. So she's able to get Omni +14 to all of her stats, depending on the number of allies in 3 spaces ×3, added with 5, and then she also gets true damage based on 15% of her attack stat. She does have the guard effect, which doesn't matter against a lot of the meta nukes because they already have null guard in their kit, and then she heals up 7 HP after the combat. She does have base 44 attack with the super boon and base 47 defense, which is going to be used with Lagoo's Friend, and that also has super boon, so she's mainly going to be focusing on her speed and her defense, even though she has got an attack super boon, and she has got very low resistance at base 16, so she's going to be melting to any kind of AoE damage or any kind of mate, so you have to watch out for her. So she's not going to be able to function that good as an Omni tank, but definitely more of a melee specialist. And just as a recap, she does come with Lagoo's Friend, which is going to be debuffing the foe for -5 attack, and if you have an offensive special, then the cooldown of it at max should be 3 or more. But if you have a defensive special like Godlike Reflexes, then the special cooldown requirement isn't really there for you. So that's why you see a lot of Godlike Reflexes, Aegis, Negating Fang, and all sorts of defensive specials being run with Lagoo's Friend, because it is so easy to trigger these specials with the special jumping that you get out of this, and it doesn't really require any kind of special cooldown. You're going to be trading away your own pierceable damage reduction by 50%, but that's fine because Goldmary doesn't really have any of that in her weapon, and then she can get flat damage reduction based on 20% of her defense, which is really high, especially with the super boon. The special jumping before the foe's first attack is going to be helping you trigger Godlike Reflexes a lot more easily, and on your special triggers, you're going to be getting 100% damage reduction piercing, and also true damage based on 20% of her defense. So Lagoo's Friend 4 is definitely her best lobby skill, and now it's available on another unit who's not Emblemite. So if you're trying to merge up Emblemite, then you could use her as the fodder, but she herself makes good use out of this by having that high defense and also high speed for triggering Godlike Reflexes. She also comes with Even Attack Wave N, which is a skill that's only available for the melee units. So for whatever reason they've made this kind of skill, it's not the most impressive, but still, it is going to be giving you +6 attack and also to the allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. And if you've got more attack than foes attack -5, then you get the +5 true damage, and also you get the healing when you do the damage in the combat. And if it's an even number turn, then you're able to get +6 attack in the combat. So all things considered, this is a pretty tame skill, and this is definitely to be replaced if you're going to be using her at higher investment. She does come with attack speed finish 4, which is a pretty nice skill for getting even more in combat healing and also for getting that true damage. But again, this is also something that you could replace on her kit. Her harmonic skill is going to be triggering for the engage in 3 houses characters, and this is going to be giving you +6 defense and resistance as visible buff, the resonant shield status, and also the bonus doubler and the bulwark status. So the bulwark status is something new, but it is same as the slot B skill, so this is going to be obstructing your foes, which is really helpful in something like Summoner Duels. And bonus doubler is going to be making it so that you can stat stack even more and you can get more defense out of this skill so that she can get even more flat damage reduction with Lagu's friend. Overall, Summer Goldmary is not really going to be functioning too much as an Omni tank. Instead, she's going to be there for the support that she can provide with her weapon with the debuffing and the dull attack speed, and she can also function as a near savior with the use of Brave Soren and as a assigned decoy. So she's going to be having place in Summoner Duels, and she could be covered by any kind of far savior, and she could take on a lot of the melee threats which are going to be targeting her defense. Using more tanks with Goldmary is going to be helpful because she can debuff the opponent's attack by quite a lot, and if you have multiple Goldmarys, then their supportive effect is actually going to be stacking. Summer Goldmary's kit can work out on a budget build, and you can just run her with reposition and any kind of sacred seal that can boost up her speed and defense. But if you're trying to run different skills on her, then bonus doubler 4 is actually something you could run. So this is going to be giving you more stats, and specifically it is going to be giving you more defense, which is going to be translating well with Lagu's friend. An outspeed wave could be run in her slot C so that she could get the full null follow-up while not compromising her sacred seal. Null follow-up is a lot easily outsourceable, especially to infantry units, but if you want to be self-sufficient, then this is a better wave skill to be run compared to the even attack wave that she comes with. And again, Hardy Bearing is going to be there for the boogeyman known as Emblem Ike, and this can help you against a lot of the different desperation nukes as well. And Speed IV is something you should be going for because Godlike Reflexes does depend on that, and she doesn't really have any kind of phantom speed like from a tier 4 damage reduction skill, so having more speed is always helpful. And if you're going to be ascending an asset, then you should be picking defense, and if you're going to be using her at higher investment, then Distant Bonus Doubler could be run for tanking some of the range threats. And with Breath of Life 4, she could work even more as a supportive unit, and because of her high defense, she's going to be making good use out of Breath of Life 4. And then you can also run Emblem Ike to get some unpierceable damage reduction. Summer Petra is the Red Bow Flyer with Breaker Bow as her preferred weapon. She retains the beast effectiveness, and this weapon also gives her minus in special cooldown and also gives her counter 1, so she doesn't really have to run any kind of fortress skill. She also has the aerial maneuvers warping, the 2-space warping that we've seen before on Rearm Tana, so Petra can do that as well. And again, she's not going to be needing any kind of teleportation skill. She also gets Doubt Speed defense in combat, which is not the easiest effect to get as a flying unit, so that does help her in many of the matchups. And then she's able to get +5 to all of her stats, and then she gets even more attack and speed depending on the number of allies with more than 55 attack in 3 rows, 3 columns centered on her, and the allies with more than 40 speed in that same area. So she's able to get extra +18 attack and speed in the combat, which is quite a lot. So she's incredibly fast with her base 47 speed that does have a super boon, and she can also hit really hard with that base 45 attack. She's going to be getting the special jumping on her first attack and then on her follow-up attack, just like Windtribe Claude. So here the special jumping is going to be dependent on X+1, and the max this could be is her special cooldown count at start, and there's no cap to the max special cooldown that she gets on the second special jumping on her follow-up attack. So it's pretty interesting. Even if she's going to be facing someone like Fallen Veil with the follow-up attack Scowl, she's still going to be able to trigger her Deadeye and nuke the enemy with her follow-up attack. So she is going to be getting stopped by the scal effect on the first attack, but still she can trigger the special on the double, which is going to be making it so that she can nuke really well with all of the mobility that she has got with the warping in her weapon, and also the Canto 1 for the retreating. To make use of the warping, she also comes with Desperation 4, and like I said, she's able to trigger Deadeye on her follow-up attack, so the Desperation effect is really good on her. She doesn't really have any kind of null follow-up in her weapon, so Speed Defense Crux is going to be working as a pseudo half null follow-up while also supporting your allies to get that guaranteed follow-up attack against the foes in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her. If you're trying to run her with a budget scale, then Attack Speed Catch could be run. We're going to be getting Summer Niffle as part of the Limited Ephemera manual, so this is easily something you could run. But if you want to have a super budget option, then I guess you could use her with Fury or even Life and Death 3 from a 4-star Soth. So these are some of the budget options for her, but by far the best slotty skill for her is going to be Flared Sparrow, and that could give you the pre-combat damage, and also you can set up the Flame Train. You could run Odd Speed Wave to get the full null follow-up out of your slotty skill, so that's also an option if you're trying to dupe it with Attuned Ivy. And Attuned Ivy can also give you Soaring Echo to provide even more support to your team with the warping. She herself has the 2-space warping, and speed is really important for her, so that's why you should be having that as your asset, and it is going to be helping you a lot against the Scowl matchups where you're going to be triggering Deadeye on your double. You can also use her with Speed Preempt, and she's definitely one of the better users of Speed Preempt because she can get incredibly fast and she can trigger Deadeye in the Speed Preempt range. So that allows you to pierce the damage reduction, and you could run Attack Speed Unity as a mixed phase option for a build like this. And Deadly Miasma could be run as a slotty skill so that you can go in and set up the haste rain and then take benefit of that in the enemy phase. But if you don't want to do it, then Speed Defense Crux is still an option that you could run, and it does work in both phases. You can also run her with Assassin Strike and Flared Sparrow if you're going to be foddering a Winter Inaka to her. So this way you're able to stack up the pre-combat damage. It's definitely not as crazy as before because Breath of Life 4 does exist, but this is still an option that you could do so that you can do massive amounts of damage. But keep in mind that you're going to be opening yourself up to the Scowl tanks because you're not going to be having Desperation 4 to trigger Deadeye with on your follow-up attack. Still, you could use her with Firestorm Dancers or Fallen Ursula to outsource the Desperation effect, and that way she could function as a really good nuke. And you can also run her with Emblem Celica so that you can warp even more. Summer Dedue is the Grail option from this patch, and he's yet another Axe Infantry unit. So he has got Anchor Axe Plus, which is going to be a weapon similar to Petra, but instead of giving you the special jumping, you're just going to be getting the guard effect in the combat. But you can get plus 20 attack and defense with it, but there are definitely better weapons that he could use like Axe of Devotion, and his defense is super high at base 47. He also dumps a lot of his speed, so he has got really good resistance for an Axe Infantry unit that is trying to be tanky, and his attack is also pretty nice. And if you're going to be comparing him to the last Axe Infantry unit, then he's going to be able to function much better as a tanky Axe unit with that resistance and that defense. He doesn't really have as much speed, but that's not the biggest deal, and as you can see, even compared to Fuga, he's going to be having some extra defense. He does come with Solid Ground 3 at 5 stars, so maybe this could be helpful whenever we get the Crystalline Water version of Solid Ground, but the thing is that not a lot of units have the defense check. I mean, there are some defense checks like Breath of Life and the Isolation of Mila, but a lot more units need the resistance check for the ploy skills, for the sabotage skills. So comparatively, the defense checks are not as important, so his fodder is not really as good. On super budget, you could run him with his defense refine and run Quick Repose as the slot B skill. You could even run Dull Close if you want to, but you can run Quick Repose for the guaranteed follow-up attack. And a better weapon for him is definitely going to be Axe of Devotion. So Special Spiral 4 could be run with Time Pulse 4, and if you have a spare Diamant, then you can also get Attack Defense Finish 4 at the same time. So this way you're able to retaliate back with Ignis and try and loop it with Special Spiral and Time Pulse 4, and you also get the full damage reduction piercing. Attack Defense Finish 3 is a good Sacred Seal that could be run so that you can stack it up with the slot A skill. And Lagoose Friend is definitely going to be the go-to skill for him at max investment, so it could be run with Defense Rest Finish 4 and also Breath of Life 4, so he gets a lot of mileage out of it because of his high defense. And Acts of Devotion is still a pretty good weapon. You can now run Bonfire if you want to retaliate back with it, with the special jumping of the Goose Friend, but Ignis could also be run if you're going to be providing him any kind of breath cooldown support. Acts of Devotion does give you the pre-combat damage, but if you want to have more of the debuffs on the enemy, then Arcane 3 could be run. So the speed part of this weapon is irrelevant for Dedue because he's not fast enough, but still he's able to debuff the foes and get the sabotage effect in the combat. So it could help him stat stack, and that's why Distant Bonus Doubler could also be run because he definitely has a usable resistance compared to a lot of the Axe Infantry units. And when you're going to be having minus some special cooldown of Arcane 3, you could run Ignis as your special and you can retaliate back with it. And Lagoose Friend and Breath of Life are still going to be a really solid option. And Guard Attune skill also works out really well with the full tempo effect of Arcane 3. Summer Clanne is a colorless infantry dagger with Small Spade Plus as his inedible weapon. So this can give up to plus 20 attack and speed, which is definitely good for an inedible dagger. And instead of having the guard effect like Dedue's weapon, this gives you the special charges per attack. So triggering lethality does become easier with this. So it's no arcane dagger, but still overall this is a pretty decent offensive option. And Clanne's bridge fodder is absolutely insane with attack speed finish 3 at 4-star and speed defense tempo 3 at 5-star. So this is going to be really helpful if you have the fodder for it. And when it comes to stat spread, he does have a super boon in his attack, but stat spread wise he's pretty much a patty with an inverse defense and resistance. So he has got a lot better resistance, which does open up the ploy usage with him, which is not something a lot of dagger units can do. And comparing him to Pern is going to be having a much better preferred weapon and also much better attack. So offensively he's not going to be as good as him, but again ploy skills are something that is a bit unique to Summer Clanne. On super budget you could run him with the Speed Refine and Speed Smoke in the slot C, but he could definitely be expanded with the expensive skills if you've got access to it. And a ploy skill is definitely going to be making good use out of his resistance. So that could be run, and you could run Physical No Follow-Up for the damage reduction piercing. An attack speed finish 4 could be run with his bridge fodder. So if you plan on running Small Spade Plus, then this is a build you could run. But Arcane Tempest, in my opinion, is going to be the better weapon to be run on him. So that could be run, and you could just run all of the fodder of Rearmed South, including Potent Disarm. And if you want to optimize an Arcane Tempest build, then you could try and run Flash Barrow and give him the fodder from Attune Nino. So he's able to get the special charges out of it, and then he can also run the tier 4 version of Speed Defense Tempo. Arcane Tempest does give you the full non-follow-up, so you can easily run the Tempo skill, and with the Flash Barrow and the Time Pulse of Arcane Tempest, you're easily able to trigger lethality on your double. I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of this month's weapon refines, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish YouTube sub boxes would show my videos as many times as we get Axe Infantry as free to play units. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.